Hello escapees, it's Shane from the Ultimate Deck Shop where we help you escape to your backyard, and today we're talking about Cutek Extreme and its line of products. Everybody has a bad deck stain story. There's lots of bad deck stains out there, and there's also lots of good deck stains used in the wrong regions or wrong environments and climates. But what if I told you you didn't have to do that? You could find a product that worked really well in just about any climate on any wood that would mean you never have to worry about peeling, flaking, or chipping ever again. A number of years ago, we were on the lookout for a stain that would really answer everybody's question. What is the best stain to use on my deck and fence? And though we've carried a variety of stains over the years and they've been really good stains, we were looking for the best product out there, and our research showed us that there was one stain that kind of stuck out as the winner of all the awards and the winner of all the tests, and that happened to be Cutek Extreme. This product works a little bit differently than most stains. Most stains are going to leave a film coat on the surface of the wood, and that's how it's going to protect the wood, is to encapsulate it in a shell, essentially. The problem with that is in any sort of climate, that shell is eventually going to develop a crack, a chip, a flake, something somewhere, and as soon as it does, that protection is gone. The water can now work its way into the wood and start expanding and contracting that wood, which is just going to exacerbate the problem into more flaking and more chipping and more peeling. But Cutek Extreme does not dry like that. It does not create a film coat. It actually absorbs deep into the cell structure of the wood and repels moisture from the inside out. It never actually dries in there. Now, because the wood doesn't dry, you don't ever have to worry about lap marks or applying it when it's too hot out. Actually, the hotter the better. This is a very forgiving oil. You cannot do it wrong. You just need to get the product onto the wood, whether by sprayer, by roller, by brush, doesn't really matter. Just get it on the wood and give the wood some time to soak it all up. Now, the oil comes clear in the can, so if you're looking for something that's just going to give you a raw, clear, natural looking wood, then just use the oil by itself. But beware that it does not have any UV inhibitor in the oil itself. If you'd like to maintain the color, use a color tone tint that has the UV inhibitor in it. Now, these tints are sold separately, which is a fantastic thing because it allows you to control how much or how little tint, or even mix and match the tints to find your perfect color. It's recommended using 1 tint per gallon. You simply squeeze the tube into the gallon, give it a stir, and away you go. But some people appreciate the vibrancy of adding a second tint or even a third tint per gallon to get more vibrant color out of their deck. Now, one thing people point out sometimes is, whoa, that's quite a bit of money per gallon. And while that's true, and if you're just comparing gallon to gallon with what you're seeing at the box store or even another brand that we might carry, it's not true when it comes down to the square footage price, because Cutek Extreme coverage is about double what most stains are. So while you may be looking at a stain that costs only about $60 to $80 per gallon, the coverage on that stain might only be around 150 to 250 square feet. Whereas with Cutek Extreme, on average, you're getting around 400 square feet for about $120 Canadian per gallon. So the cost per square foot of actual coverage typically actually works out in the favor of Cutek being a lower cost oil to use. Now, keep in mind these coverages can vary depending on the type of wood you're using. If you're using a soft wood that was rough cut and has been out in the sun for 20 years, it's going to be very, very thirsty, and that 400 is going to turn into 200 pretty quick at best. However, if you're using a hardwood that's fairly new, it's going to double the coverage. So your range will range quite a bit. Use the helpful calculator we've got on this page to kind of give you a rough guess as to how much oil you're going to need for the condition and type of your lumber. Now let's tackle some common questions about Cutek Extreme usage. If you have an existing deck that has been coated with an existing coating, whether it's linseed oil or a paint of some sort or an acrylic or a stain, doesn't matter, use the Cutek stripper to remove that old coating to ensure that the Cutek Extreme can properly penetrate into the wood. Once you've removed the old coatings with Cutek stripper, if there's still any residual staining or aged weathered wood anywhere, then you can use the Cutek reviver to bring back the original color of the wood and get rid of any aggressive stains. Now, if your deck was not ever coated with anything else, but it is turned weathered and gray, then you can go straight to just using the Cutek reviver, which is an aggressive cleaner to get rid of any stains from irons, tannins, water stains, you name it. It will actually also brighten the wood as well, bringing it back to close to its original color. Now, if you're using new wood, it may be okay to go directly to Cutek Extreme and start coating it. However, there may be some things you can't see on the wood that are going to prevent proper absorption of the product. So you may want to still either give it a light sand or using the Cutek reviver as best case scenario, or even the Cutek quick clean to give it a prep before you apply the Cutek Extreme. That's going to take care of any oils you might not see, any dirt that's happened during transportation, or potentially mill glazing out of the factory. Now, if your deck already has a coat of Cutek Extreme on it and you're just simply applying a maintenance coat, you can probably get away with just rinsing the deck off and applying more oil. But worst case scenario, if you're worried that there's a little bit of environmental buildup, dirt, grease, grime, whatever it might be, use the quick clean product, and that's going to give you a nice fresh start and prep to put on an additional maintenance coat of Cutek Extreme. Many people want to know, how long do I have to let my lumber dry or weather before I can apply Cutek Extreme? And unlike most other products out there, you don't have to let the wood weather at all. You simply need the moisture content to drop below 17%. Now you can check that with a moisture meter, or a simple little home test you can do is to throw a cup of water on the deck and see if it absorbs in within a couple minutes. If it does, it's going to absorb the Cutek as well. Now, one of the most common myths out there in the market is that you have to let pressure-treated lumber dry for a year or two before you can apply any coatings. But that's just simply not true in most cases. Most pressure-treated lumber is going to show up to your house anywhere from 15 to 50% moisture, so it may show up too high. However, in most regions, that's going to dry out within from a couple days to a couple weeks. Now, if you're somewhere with a very high humidity and you get really wet lumber, it may take more than a few months to actually get down to that level, but just keep an eye on it, check out the moisture meter, throw the cup of water on it, test, and as soon as it's ready, apply your Cutek Extreme. The sooner you can get Cutek Extreme into the wood to start protecting it and stabilizing it, the more you're going to limit the checking, the cracking, the warping, etc. Now, one other fantastic thing about Cutek Extreme, which hardly any other stains out there can claim to be able to do, is you can wet stack your lumber with Cutek Extreme. Why that matters is if you're going to build a new project, a new deck, new fence, all your siding for your house, you can pre-coat everything in Cutek Extreme and stack it all up, and it's not going to glue itself together and gum up. That way you can coat all sides of the board, get the most penetration of the most oil into the board to provide the most protection before you install it when it becomes impossible to later coat the backside or the underside of the boards. So there you have it, Cutek Extreme, that was rated #1 in the world against 26 other oils in the Great Stain Shootout that was published in Pro Deck Builder magazine and JLC Online. It really is a fantastic performer, does an excellent job of repelling moisture, an excellent job of repelling UV rays and protecting your project to make sure it looks good for years and years and years. And bonus, it's incredibly easy to use, and the maintenance coats are a breeze. No longer you're gonna have to look in your backyard and think, God, I just don't want to do it.
Protect your capital investment with easy, regular maintenance. Easy to use, easy to maintain, beautiful to look at. Experience the Cutek difference.